Madamont Production.
Yo, 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 yo. What is up? What is up? YouTube, Boxing Family. It is K right here. I am back with another good video for you guys today. Let's get right into it. Um, got a lot of boxing talk to talk about. I got Diab coming in soon, but he should be coming through if he's able to. But yeah, salute to everybody, in the chat. Be sure to like, rate, hate, comment the video, share it, do what y'all gotta do, and I will see you guys later. In this other, well, for more future content. But yeah, let's talk about the boxing world. What's going on in the current news cycle, and it's getting pretty interesting. There's a lot of good fights that are definitely coming up very soon. And yeah, I gotta talk about Virgil Ortiz and Stanionis because now, from what I'm hearing, it seems like Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz is officially going to first bid, and I don't know what's going to be happening in terms of like what the fight details will, entail itself to be. But depending on how things are going with how that fight will be run, um, yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting because I don't know why people have this weird confidence of thinking Virgil Ortiz is going to like go in here and just beat up Stanionis really easily, but I don't see it happening. Like I think Stanionis' style is all wrong for Virgil Ortiz. I think Virgil, he's just that type of dude where he gets hit way too much, and I don't think for a guy like Stanionis, he would ever let anything like that slip. Especially for him holding the WBA title. even though I don't consider it a title. I think of it as like a secondary opportunity title, or just like a secondary title, because if you think about it, um, you just don't have the buying power with that title. Like people don't look at you as a champion. If anything, you're just an interim champion. But I mean, either way, like if you want to be that person to be at that level, you know, you should be calling off all the big names that you want to fight. And if you are doing that, then people will look at you as a champion with that belt. So I just think the WBA regular title needs to be eliminated. And good enough, the WBA is definitely getting rid of it. But they should have done this like way long ago. And it's just stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think with how everything's going, it's just the WBA, they're just playing, roll the dice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's all political servitude to make people like wait so long, because they don't want to unify other champions that should be fighting their champion. So therefore, when it comes to a champion that wants to fight the best, and you have like another champion under them that wants to beat them, but it's like if you're not letting the super champion and the regular champion go at it every time when they have a belt, then it just destroys the whole purpose of that belt. Because remind you, the WBA belt has been around for over 101 years, heading into its 102nd year after this new year is commenced. So 102 years will mark it's a very longest existence in terms of boxing sanction bodies. But yeah, I think either way, it just it just shows, like, if sanction bodies are not giving you the best fight and the best, then markets can do better, because the sanction bodies are not markets of their own. They're politicized institutions that are licensed through the state, where the state gives political backing for them, and that's how they survive as a sanction body. Because like, it's not to say that governments are funding sanction bodies, it's just that these are basically unelected markets. Well, I wouldn't even say like, how should I say it? Like, people know that if you want to see the best fight on the best, you don't need a sanction body for it. So for sanction bodies, those are not businesses. Those are like basically unnecessary licensed institutions that the state gives for the opportunity for these sanction bodies to make money off of fighters, in which the fighters are not getting anything for it. The fighters are just being used as cannon fodder to basically beat each other up. And once you get up to that level of you wanting a title, they're basically the middleman that holds you back, where you should have been got your title shot 20, 30 plus years ago. But they, like, those are like the crooks in the big with the big suits and the big corridors of political servitude of the ruling elite, where they act as like a state to restrict you and tell you what to do, of what you can or cannot do. So either way, like, for the WBA, it's a institution like any other institution that's unjust, that is protected by the state. They operate in a way where they use certain political barriers against fighters in boxing, where boxing is not fair. It's a politicized, monopolized game of dice, where you have to actually take massive risks in the sport. But whatever you do in the sport, that could be your very last, because these sanctioned bodies will make a profit off of your dead bodies. So that's really what it is. It's really sad, because it's not free market economics being operated. It's really crony, corporatist type of behavior, where state governing institutions give protections to these people that are just everyday normal. Well, no, they're not normal people, but these are people that want power. So of course, these are your regular strangers that you don't know, that will be happy to do something like that against you because that's how they are. So either way, when it comes down to it, there's so much more to really talk about that, but I'm not going to get into that. But as far as what we're having to deal with now, unfortunately, as boxing fans or students of the game, Virgil Ortiz and you know Amanta Stanionis will be fighting for the WBA title eliminator, from what I hear, for the placement of trying to become a mandatory for Errol Spence. And I think on top of that, when you think about it, Errol Spence is also having to be notified within, I'd say, no later than April to make a decision through the IBF to fight Jaron Ennis or fight Keith Thurman, depending on whoever he selects. But I don't think EJ is going to fight either one of them. Not to say that it's it's a form of ducking, because it's really not. If you are moving up to go to a better division that suits you, then Errol Spence moving up to 154 is not a bad idea if you can't get the fight with Terrence Crawford, because that's what Spence wants. He wants undisputed. So I'm not going to diss Errol Spence to say, oh well, he's ducking Thurman and Boots, because that logic of its own makes no goddamn sense. But when you compare the two, it's almost in a way where people do think Errol Spence is ducking, because he's doing the same thing with what Keith Thurman was doing to EJ. But here's the difference. Keith Thurman had the opportunity to fight Errol Spence when Errol Spence was not even his mandatory at all. And by the way, just to let you guys know, like Keith Thurman, when he held the WBC and the WBA title, Errol was being held back to not even fight Keith Thurman at all. Like, he was being held back by the sanction bodies that were trying so hard to make it harder for him to fight Keith Thurman. So of course Errol Spence is going to have a lot of demise towards Keith Thurman, because Keith Thurman, he had this weird obligation to think that he shouldn't have to fight EJ unless EJ got a belt. But now that he grabbed the belt through the IBF against Kell Brook, which he had to take it from him, and that was a hard fought war that he had to go through, it still just showed, like, nothing's fair in the sport of boxing. So, I mean, either way, like, however you guys want to view it, I don't think EJ, he's ducking anybody, because, you can't even say that, he's really ducking Boots or Thurman, because, the weird thing about it is just that, EJ, he just wants to be undisputed. So if he's doing that, then, that's just, the weird part, like, about it. Hold on, give me like 1 second. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna send it again to D-Hive, see what happens. Here's another link. Post link. YouTube chat. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna post up the link for D-Hive to join. So if he is coming through, then yeah, that'll make it easier. And yeah, we'll move forward with that. But yeah, man, I think Errol Spence, he's doing everything correctly. He can't do everything all at once. And I think where things are going right now, he's really at no issue in his career where he needs to feel pressured of fighting, anybody tough. Because I think that the biggest problem with like what people see out of Errol Spence is that people expect too much out of what EJ is going to bring to the table. But it's like, when that same energy gets applied to like any other champion, like a Terrence Crawford or Vasil Lomachenko, like anybody at that level that has been, just pampered, or they've been groomed, in matchmaking, where they don't have to worry about tough matchups. They can worry about easy matchups. Then that's what makes, like a lot of these fighters look, real suspect in what they do. So I just think either way, when it comes down to it, man, you just have to understand that in the sport of boxing, the business is definitely the biggest problem. But if fighters are not doing their thing and they're not being, responsible for their careers, then that just shows who's ducking and who's really wanting to fight. Hey, what's up, Diaz?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right, sorry about that. It was I don't know what the fuck happened with the Streamyard, but
Oh, all right,
but yeah.
all right. Yeah. So, what's up?
Another. What's the subject matter?
Oh, I'm just talking about the whole Errol Spence, dilemma, where
Oh,
people are now, yeah, yeah. Like, I don't know if you heard, like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it's correct, but Arrow has until April to make a decision of who he's gonna fight, and I think it has to be between Keith Thurman or Jaron Ennis, right?
yeah. Or I mean, to be honest, or he could just move up. Like the shit, it doesn't really have to. That shouldn't really matter like that. But it is the IBF. The IBF is pretty strict about their shit. So yeah, it's looking real, man. It's looking pretty real, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit how all of a sudden Crawford fans have a fucking opinion about who Errol Spence fights. It's like, bro, man, all y'all need to shut that weak shit up because you bitches don't have any of this energy for fucking Terrence Crawford. None of it. You don't have any of this fucking energy for Terrence Crawford what's so goddamn ever.
Yeah.
Some goddamn some
but
goddamn trash.
but on top of that, EJ, like, he still has to like get ready for camp, and he hasn't even been back in the gym, I think. But it's like, when can we see EJ have like an easy fight? Because he's been tested like real tough, you know?
No, it's because the fans demand shit from EJ. And part of it is because people don't like him. But part of it is also wait shit 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, like I think at this point, Errol Spence, man, it's just, it's all smoke and mirrors of how people try to paint him, because it's like, if he listens to what the fans tell him what to do, then he's still gonna be criticized, regardless.
My bad, sorry about that. Anyways, but yeah, like I was saying, partially part of it is because people don't like him and they want to see him lose to the people that they think that they assume he loses to. And part of it is because people know he's the goods, and people know that he's not going to be easy work for anybody. But I can't stand that. I can't stand how motherfuckers they demand the world of Devin Haney, they demand the world of Wilder, they demand the world of Spence, they demand the world of Charlo. These are dudes that are doing everything we're supposed to, and they're not entitled to a break. Meanwhile, motherfuckers like Terrence Carver that haven't put in an honest day's work in their entire fucking lives, they're allowed to fight whoever. Oh, Terrence Carver deserves a break. He deserves some rest. A nigga, a rest from what? His whole career has been easy ass guaranteed paydays for nothing. For easy ass work. For fucking Wash Khan, Washed Brook, Porter after he asked for the fight for 2 fucking years. He wanted to fight you when he was a champion. Like, dude, this motherfucker, all he does is whine about money like he deserves something. Bro, you don't deserve shit. And what pisses me off is that Bud fans, I swear to God, they always act like this dude is the guy that needs to be approached. Like they encourage Bud to stay away from real fights, but then they expect everyone to try to make real fights with Bud. How when you keep encouraging him to stay away from all the fucking smoke? The fuck? Like it just gets on my goddamn nerves. They literally instruct this dude, walk away unless the money is super duper good. Walk away, bud. Walk away, bud. But then they want to say, oh, how come people don't approach him with fights? Because you bitches are gonna tell him to walk away. God damn, it's like it doesn't make any sense. It's all like why is it they spent all these years talking about how Bud is no one wants any smoke with Bud, no one wants Bud, but then everyone's got to go hunt him down. Shouldn't he be thirsty for a big fight if that's all he's ever wanted? Shouldn't he be thirsty? Shouldn't he love a fucking Jaron Ennis fight? Huh? He did all that bullshit. He got David Avanesian out of a goddamn fight that who already had a fight date in November. Shouldn't he want to fight Jaron Ennis? Like, shouldn't he be thirsty for that fight if he's the ultimate fucking badass? Like, make it make sense, bro.
Yeah, but I think it's pure degeneracy. Honestly, I think honestly, you know, like what me and you talked about, you know, like when it comes to like being, you know, responsible, you know, as like a older man or just like a like you know a young adult, like you are what you preach. So I think like how Crawford's been raised as a person, like that just shows how he is as a person outside of the sport. Because like I don't know if you can like agree, but boxing can be used as like a metaphoric symbolism for everyday life. But I just think honestly, when it comes down to it, like if you're not willing to be responsible for your actions outside of, you know, anything that you profession in general, then like that's what shows you, like you know, who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think when it comes to situations like this, for a sport like boxing, Crawford doesn't want to be responsible, and he likes to blame anything on other people to say, oh well, you know, I could have done something, but you know how we Omaha boys be like, but you know, I try to do everything what I could have done because you know this guy could have went to that guy and that guy could have went to this guy and that guy. Like he uses these same, you know, degenerate arguments that other people from like low end, you know, developmental societies would say. Like uh imagine if someone tries to say that they didn't mean to touch your car, but yet they kept lying to you about it, and then they kept on doing it over and over and over. And you know that this person's trying to steal something out of your car or try to hijack it, but it's like that's what Crawford is. He's like a living parasite where he knows what he's doing is very evil and very messed up, but at the same time, if you understand that you're not going to stand up for who you are as a person, then just basically move on because you're basically wasting everyone else's time. So I think, you know, case in point, he just needs to get out of the way. You know, he needs to be taken down.
My thing is, all I ask him to do is just give up the belt. If you want to fight these random ass dudes that no one gives a fuck about, cool. You don't need to be the WBO world champion to do that. You can make all this money without the belt. You're still Terrence Crawford. Just give us the belt back so we can get back to boxing. Give us the belt back so we can use that belt to make some goddamn fights. Like you don't need to hold the fucking belt hostage. But that's the thing. He knows that his only value is to be mentioned in the same breath as Spence. And as long as Spence is in the division, he's going to use that fight to try to leverage paydays with other people. But my thing is, it's not even about laziness. He's fucking scared. He does not want to get his ass beat now that he has access, well, so-called access to easy-ass money. Because the reality is, if you say that you have, like, you know, 3 more years of fighting left in you, and you take a really bad L, you might not have 3 more years. You might have 1 more year or 2 more years, you know? And the thing is, too, like Adrian Broner, the reason why AB is a lazy and undisciplined sack of shit. But the reason why people love him is because he's honest. Now, Adrian Broner came out recently and said that he left the PBC because of his level of activity and because and this is important, in order to make the money that he wants to make, they're going to make me fight Godzilla. That's a direct quote from Adrian Broner. This motherfucker was scheduled to fight Omar Figueroa. Some dude that's had his ass whooped. He was vomiting blood in the corner. He got stopped so hard. But AB is complaining about Godzilla. That means AB was concerned that he might not even be able to beat Omar Figure fucking Roa, bro. So basically Adrian Broder is saying, I don't want to put in a hard day's work. I don't want to have to earn any money. I want to make maximum bread for easy ass work. And that's why I respect AB, because AB knows he's a washed coward. Adrian Broder is a washed coward, but the thing is, he knows that about himself and he's moving like it. Terrence Crawford is acting like a bitch, is behaving like a washed coward, but he's trying to move like a badass. It's like, no, dude, you're a fucking coward. And the thing is, it's okay. Boxing is a sport where your life can be taken from you if you get hurt. It's okay to say that you're scared and you want to maximize the amount of money and mitigate the amount of risk. But you gotta say that. Stop talking shit like everyone's running away from you and everyone, like, dude, at this point, Virgil Ortiz Jr. and like Stanionis is fucking better than everybody that Bud ever fought, except maybe like Postal. Like, if we're being honest, like, it's true. It's true. And what's fucking hilarious to me is that whenever Crawford's legacy is referenced, he never brings up Postal. I'm like, bro, Postal is like your single best fucking win. Why do you never talk about it? He's like the only fucking one of the only certified dudes on your whole fucking resume. Why the fuck do you never bring this guy up? Shit is just fucking funny to me. Like, it's just pissing me off because, like I said, he's holding up the goddamn division. He doesn't need the belt to do what he needs to do. He can have all these bum bashes. He can make all this money, and he doesn't need to hold on to the fucking WBO strap. And he's only doing it because as long as Spence is at welterweight and he has something that Spence wants, he can try to dangle it like a carrot. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's very sad. Because it's like, you know, I'm just thinking about like how the welterweight division is going to shape up, and I really want to see Jaron Ennis like beat up Crawford badly, and after that, maybe get undisputed with Jaron Ennis being, you know, the one to unify, because I don't think Spence is going to hang in there, you know, for, you know, like another like fight or two at welterweight. But I just think at this point, like, it's just like, Crawford, get out of here, man. It's like, honestly, like, he's acting just like Triple G. Just hold on to his, you know, itty bitty belts and try to act like he's, you know, relevant when no one doesn't care. Like, I'll even bring up like a good story, like, when I said in the past that I went to the Edgar Berlanga fight and I was like, basically like, you know, they're chilling, you know, like, you know, with like my father, basically like everybody was talking like about pound for pound, right? And I was hearing like these fucking idiots talking like about how Crawford is pound for pound, but they were debating whether if Crawford should be pound for pound number 1 or 2, and they were using Iowa Inoue and Lomachenko and all these weird ass fucking picks, right? And they were saying, oh well, if Crawford, if he beats Spence but Inoue beats Fulton, then shouldn't that make Inoue number 1 over Crawford being number 2? And then they say if Loma beats Haney, then Loma should be number 2 or number 3. And I'm like, dude, like, these are like horrible effing takes, but I was just like so annoyed by it because I just know that these motherfuckers like understand that, you know, they just play this stupid ass, you know, fantasy to act like they know what they're talking about. But then it's like, in all honesty and reality, you know, they don't want to see Bud get beat up because they understand, like, you know, when you even try to measure it off of his pound for pound status, what is pound for pound in terms of skill? Because if it's all about skill, which it is about skill on an objective basis, Crawford is none of that. You cannot tell me you can go to the playground and score 1,000,000 points on, you know, let's just say 5,000 kids, you know, every single day, right? And pretend that you are the best basketball player ever. No. So therefore, in boxing, you could do about the same thing. You could go out to some weird ass neighborhood where people are not known for known for fighting, but if you just beat up on some people that people never heard of, and people just run with it to say, oh well, he's like the baddest guy out there, blah blah blah. So that's why everybody needs to needs to go watch out for him. It's like the same rinse, wash, and repeat cycle where they just think the eye test is just like the ultimate deceptive factor to determine greatness out of like a fighter when it's clearly not.
Bro, the fucking pound for pound list is now basically a big popularity contest because no one has any like definitive metrics on what they use to constitute pound for pound. Like no one can give you a list of things. No one can give you a set list of things that qualify someone as a pound for pound fighter and then stick to it because they always change up the fucking script when it comes to someone else. Like to justify fucking Triple G's pound for pound status, they'll use his little ass resume and who he fought because you can't say he moved up multiple weight divisions. So they'll say, oh, well, he fought fucking Canelo and Jacobs. But then for somebody else, they'll say, oh, it's accomplishments. Well, accomplishments against who? Accomplishments are significantly easier to actually get your hands on when the opposition is limited. Like you telling me, like, bro, David Morrell Jr. has 7 fucking fights. If he fought the same people as Canelo, he would knock them all the fuck out too. So like I don't give any weight to any of that. And also when it comes to skill set analysis, the fucking eye test, that's like number one, you can tell a lot of people have never fought before. You can tell people don't know boxing, and you can tell people never even been in a street fight because they can't even assess the different kind of skill sets you need to actually be in a combat situation. Like Bud is a guy that, and the thing is too, you have to factor in all of these things. You can't factor in 1 or 2 or 3. You have to factor in all of these things to make a sound decision. Like Inoue is cool, like, and especially like for Asian fighters, they put a lot of fucking emphasis on moving up in weight and fighting who? All of Inoue's best opponents are number one unknown, number two they're all over 36 years old. These dudes are all well out of their fucking prime. Like goddamn, like that's why people are asking to fight Fulton. We need someone who's skilled, someone who's sharp, someone who's young in their prime and undefeated. Fucking like bro, like Inoue got more credit for Donaire than Rigo and Walters, and they cooked him better. Inoue had to fight him twice to stop him. Fucking Walters did that in one shot. Shit pisses me the fuck off, bro. But when it comes to Crawford, all they do is talk about his accomplishments and his, like what he looks like. Crawford looks fantastic against mediocre opposition. But then you saw with Porter, he was getting outboxed to the point where someone even told him he was getting outboxed. They said that they had Porter up. And sure, Kenny stopped the fight or whatever because he got some knockdowns, and that's perfectly fine. That's great. But, the reality of the situation is each time you step Crawford up, which Porter was his most skilled opponent, he looked questionable. And I'm like, now imagine you get over to a Spence and it goes to a decision. People didn't want to face that reality. But I get tired. I get tired of motherfuckers defending Crawford. Who is Crawford for you to be defending? He's just some fucking guy. Like I swear, it's like a weirdo fucking cult. Oh my god, Bud is under attack. This and that, and then you got motherfuckers. Talking about Charlo, because he broke his fucking hand. I'm like, bro. Initially, the reason why the fight was even delayed is because Tim Tszyu had a fucking injury, and also the January date was the same date that his father fought for a title in the United States. So it was fucking sentimental and shit. But nah, dude, all the fighters that people should be defending, they talk shit. All the fighters that ain't worth anything, they're ready to defend with their time. Bud fucking hates you guys. He says that the UK fans are the best fans. And the reason why I said that is because the UK, they'll support bullshit. They'll support bullshit ass guys who don't do anything. So yeah, Bud would love to be over in the UK, but they don't want to pay for his ass either. I'm just tired, man. I'm tired of all this lying fucking bitch shit. All because he doesn't want to fight. And you got grown ass men on the internet fighting to defend this fucking coward. Like it's just crazy to me. This dude is holding up the whole goddamn division, and you're over here crying, trying to defend him. I'm like, bro, I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, but what gets me mad is that when Crawford does, like, I would even say anybody on the Hope list, like, when they just run their mouth to say that, oh, well, I fought all the best competition that was put in front of me. I can't make these decisions. I can't do that. Bullshit. You are your own boss at the end of the day. No one tells you who you can fight or who you can't fight. If you want to fight, you can fight. Like, for example, with Mikey Garcia, like what we brought up, in the past, like, when he wanted to fight, whatchamacallit,
He
Lomachenko,
wants to
right?
fight. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm just using that just to say, like, fighters can't make this excuse of, basically saying like, well, like I can't, control my career, blah blah blah. Knowing that's not true, you can control your career. It's like it's mainly because you just don't want to put yourself in harm's way when you know that there's like a massive opportunity right there for you to be great when you don't want to be great. So I think, in all honesty, like, when people make these stupid decisions to keep fighting mediocre class competition, and people keep, talking about pound for pound skills and all those accolades and status and all this nonsensical shit, they're really just saying that, we know that our fighters trash, and we're gonna keep making excuses for them until they get, ran the fuck over.
Yeah, I mean, like
Okay,
when
so
someone really, when someone really wants to make a fight, they go and do it. But the thing that really fucked Bud over is just the lies, the constant fucking lies, like hedge funds and 10 million and all this other weird shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, none of that shit's real. Like, bro, the moment this worthless motherfucker said hedge fund, I knew he was full of shit. I absolutely knew he was full of shit. Like the moment, fucking worthless idiot. Anyways, but the moment, yeah, the moment this motherfucker opened his mouth and said hedge fund, I knew he was full of shit because hedge funds, like hedge funds, even the smallest hedge funds have hundreds of millions of dollars under management already. They don't need to invest in boxing for any amount of money. Boxing is small. Like, contrary to popular belief, HBO got out of boxing not because they went broke, but because with all the money
right.
that they have with licensing films and shit, it wasn't even worth the cost of having boxing. They're like, fuck, why am I wasting my time dealing with all these promoters, cutting all these bullshit deals, spending all this money filming boxing when we already have hundreds of millions of dollars in movies and TV shows every fucking year? Why do you think HBO Max is
Well,
destroying the fucking market? Huh?
no, no, no. Like I was gonna say, like there's plenty of other sports HBO can massively profit off of.
Right. They're like, why am I sitting here wasting my fucking time with boxing when I already have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of film and television that I have to show people every fucking day. Boxing is beneath me. And I tried to explain this to someone, but they keep talking that stupid shit about how valuable boxing is. I'm like, bro, why do you think that movie stars after a certain point make 20 million a movie, whereas getting boxing fight is something that you may never ever see. Very few people in boxing, like not even 1% of boxers make 20 million a fucking fight. It's super super rare. So like people keep talking about, oh, HBO is this, HBO is that, Showtime is this, Showtime is that. I'm like, bro, Showtime ain't going broke. Showtime, like honestly, Showtime does so much other shit. Like honestly, boxing is like the cheapest shit that Showtime does. They license movies, they show movies, they stream movies, they make original TV series. To tell these motherfuckers have no life experience. You have no idea how much money the film industry like makes. Like they don't like so yeah, that's why HBO got the fuck out because they were making so much money. It wasn't even worth dealing with the promotion companies and the fighters. They're like, man, fuck this shit. I don't need this dumb shit. We got so many fucking movie stars we gotta pay. We don't need this bullshit. But yeah, man, the same people that complain about why big fights aren't being made are the same people that will encourage Terrence Crawford to do all kinds of fuck shit. They're the same people justifying AJ never fighting Wilder. What is wrong with y'all? Why do certain fighters, and it's weird because it's always the fighters that they're trying to protect from a loss. Like why? Why can't Terrence Crawford just fucking lose and we all move on? Like I don't understand. You know? And then they talk shit. They're like, oh well, Jamel Charlo got a loss to Tony Harrison. I thought losses didn't matter because Chocolatito's been knocked the fuck out and in front of your very face, and everyone's still saying he's some kind of all-time great. So shit, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I was going to say, I talked with Nonito like in the past about that Inoue fight, and I think he said like, I wasn't so sure if he said it directly, but I think it was either Tim or other people, but he basically like summed it up to say that he would have smashed Inoue he would have smashed Inoue in his prime, hands down, because he talked about like all the wars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's something that I love out of Nonito because Nonito understands that the people that really rock out for him, like he understands how good he is as a fighter, but it's that when people use this whole like young lion, old lion philosophy in boxing, where if you're the younger lion beating up on the older lion and you keep on doing that over and over, that makes you a all-time great. And it's like, no, that's not true. Like, when we look at Devin Haney versus Jorge Linares, okay, good, like that's a very good victory for Devin Haney, but Jorge Linares was really not in his prime, per se. He was already out of it, but he still gave Devin Haney a very difficult fight, a very heavily aggressive fight. But let's just say if we could like rewarp that time frame to say Jorge Linares and Devin Haney, they were at their prime, that would have been a massive all-time classic. But guess what? Devin Haney knows that he still needs to, apply more work to still keep on being great. And that's why, we can respect Devin for what he does, because he's not making excuses, because he's calling the shots. He's saying, hey, you call my name out, then I want you. That's what Devin Haney said from the beginning. I want to bring back boxing back to the old days, not all this weak stuff that's going on where fighters are using all this like social media talk and all this dramatic talking to pretend that they want to fight, but then when they come to the table, it's like they're just Barbie dolls. They're just basically ducking one another.
Right. No. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the changing of the guard. Like that's usually how boxing works, because Father Time is the only fighter that's undefeated. Father Time comes for us all, and eventually, you got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them, and eventually there's going to be a younger fighter that has all the assets, none of the liabilities, and they're going to come and take you out unless you retire. Like Sean Porter, like I always bring this up. Sean Porter was honest with himself when he got asked about Jaron Ennis. He said straight up, "I am not fighting." And not fighting him. There's no fucking way that you're gonna put me in a position where you're feeding me. You're feeding me to the young kid. No, I'm not gonna do it. And that's fair. And a lot of people don't want to have that conversation with themselves. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to fight anyone, be like Adrian Broner, get the fuck out of the rankings, don't touch a belt, don't do title eliminators, and keep fighting whoever the fuck you want to fight. Don't be like Terrence Crawford to the point where you're holding up the sport and turning everything into a fucking minstrel show, and we got to deal with your bullshit. Because I'm telling you, Terrence Crawford is No, for real. Terrence Crawford is loving this because he's never been more popular. No one has talked about Terrence Crawford this much in his entire career. Like, even when he became undisputed, nobody gave a fuck. Like, no one cared. They were like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, who cares? Like, we expected you to beat these fucking dudes. So now the whole world is actually talking about Terrence Crawford for once, and it's only because of Errol Spence. That's why he's loving this shit. That's why he won't give up the belt, and he wants to milk the shit out of it, because he knows once he gives up that belt and he's not valuable to Spence anymore, no one's gonna care about him. Nobody gonna give a fuck about Terrence Crawford. So that's why he's in this position, because he's in a position of relevance. So yeah, but because he's intentionally handicapping the fans, and he knows the only reason why he's doing this is because he has an army of dumb fucks behind him that will support everything he does. If Bud fans actually held Bud's feet to the fire like they do Spence and Charlo, Bud would be bullied enough to either fight Spence or give up the belt and like leave, like do something else. Do something else. There's plenty of other shit you can do. Or like I said, just stay the fuck out of the rankings. Don't fight title eliminators and fight whoever you want to fight, bro. It don't matter to me. If you don't want to fight, if you don't want to fight anybody, that's cool. But stop trying to hold up the fucking division, because then we're all being deprived of fights we could be getting. Like fucking Gerard Ennis could be fighting for something, but this prima donna ass bitch just is so fucking hyped off this attention that he's never received, and now he thinks he's gonna get all these big time. Like, bro, like first of all, we don't even know if he actually cleared $10 million for BLK Prime. We'll never really know. Second off, we don't know if he's gonna get paid that amount of money again. For who? For who? I doubt they made all their money back on this shit. So people keep asking, like people keep asking me, who do I think Crawford should fight? I'm like, shit. If it ain't Spencer Ennis, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care about Terrence Crawford, bro. I've never cared about Terrence Crawford. The only reason why anybody cared about him is for Spence, and we're not getting that. So I don't give a fuck. And I don't understand why people who die over Terrence Crawford care either. Like Bud fans, he's never given you a fight that you fucking asked for. And then they keep saying that we asked for Porter. No, Spence fans asked him to fight Porter because that was the only fucking name he had at the time. He had fought nobody. So we were like, shit, can you at least fight Porter? Can you at least get past Porter? And he did. Okay, cool, great. Porter talking about retirement. His dad talking about he didn't like his preparation and shit. Cool, good, great. He got past Porter. Congratulations. No reasonable Spence fans picked Porter to beat Bud. I didn't think Bud would stop him. And to be honest, fucking Kenny had more to do with stopping Sean than fucking Bud did. But it is what it is. But I thought Crawford would beat him. I just didn't think that Crawford would fucking stop him.
Yeah. But to me, I don't even justify the Porter victory, because Crawford wasn't even given the opportunity to stop Porter. But you have his dumbass foolery fans, or his dick rider fans trying to say, oh well, we all know how that fight would have gone, if his daddy didn't throw in the towel, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well then we're not going to justify this whole triangle bullshit theory that Crawford's just gonna knock out Spence because he knocked out Porter. Because he didn't knock out Porter. He didn't even hurt Porter, honestly. He just caught Porter with some good ass shots, and Porter, he tried to act like as if he was done, to which I didn't think he was done. I thought Porter was able to keep on going. It's just that he just needed to keep his composure, contained. And I think honestly, if that fight was, continued, I think Crawford would have tired out, because he looked like he wasn't even able to even keep those punches going. And I think Porter knew that Crawford, as much as people hyped him up for being a good finisher, I don't think he's a really, really good finisher. It doesn't even show it. But, whenever he does good at knocking somebody out, it takes a large accumulation of punches to actually, see a Crawford knockout. Versus with Porter, Porter's knockouts, he actually hits you when he sees the right opportunity to stop you. So, I think that fight definitely would have played out a lot better if the fight had just continued, just to see if Crawford was able to stop Porter.
Yeah, I agree with that part. I'm not going to say Crawford isn't a good finisher. Crawford is a good finisher, but look at who he's been fighting. He's been fighting either no names or people that have been. Yeah, he's been fighting either against garbage people who are no names and people who have been finished by lesser opposition. And shit, Porter already basically said he was already out the game. He was planning that to be his last fight. So I mean, it's like, okay, great, you finished Porter. And the thing about it is too, oh motherfucker. The thing about it is too, if Bud fans, okay, if Bud fans were really like certain, like really certain that Bud knocks out Spence, they would have encouraged Bud to take the fight, and money wouldn't have mattered. Money would not have mattered. First of all, he was slated to make more than $10 million for anybody that knows boxing and anybody that can count. But the reality is, if they actually cared about boxing, if they actually cared about the fight, if they actually believed that Bud could beat Spence, they would have encouraged him to take the fucking fight. Like, I knew that Devin Haney was going to whoop the shit out of Kambosos, knockout or no knockout. So I encouraged him to take the shittiest deal in all of boxing and beat that son of a bitch until he's done. And he did it, and now he's undisputed. Nobody can take that away from him. Now, people talking shit. Oh, Kambosos wasn't good. Okay, bitch. Then get your favorite fighter to fight him. It's the same thing I say about Jerron Ennis. Oh, his opposition is trash. He's trash. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Get your favorite fighter to fight him. Oh, well, it got to make sense. What has he done? He hasn't earned the fight, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, just shut the fuck up then, pussy. I'm tired of you bitch dudes whining about how we're not getting good fights, but then simultaneously justifying as to why no good fight should happen. Fuck, I tell people all the time. If good boxing to you is watching your favorite fighter run over people, that's perfectly fine. Just admit that and shut the fuck up. Like, admit that and shut the fuck up, because no one wants to hear about you. But to me, good boxing is when it's actually difficult to determine the winner. Like, people think that boxing is getting because casual to predict more. No, boxing is just becoming more predictable. Casuals that don't know shit about boxing, if they're consistently picking winners, that means there's a lot of mismatches. It doesn't mean boxing is getting better. It means there's a lot of fucking mismatches. And in casuals, and even casuals who don't know the sport can spot them shits. That's what that means. So, and like, the thing is too, whenever you're talking to Bud fans about Bud, it's never about boxing. It's always, is Bud happy? Is Bud safe? Is Bud making enough money? Is Bud healthy? Like, what the fuck are, again, they sound like the Real Housewives of Omaha. They sound like this nigga's baby mama, bro. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Yeah, like what the fuck do you mean? He has a whole team to worry about that shit. I mean, I know his team sucks dick because it's fucking Bernie the Boxer and Big now. But that's on him. And when it was time for him to actually retain intelligent counsel, he didn't do that. Because people with intelligence intimidate a fucking idiot. I mean, there's nothing that, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to interject just one point. Like, now it's just turning into like a fuck fest where Crawford, he really thinks he's relevant just based off of Spence. And it's like, dude, no one cared about you prior to you even coming into like any division at all. And the only relevance where Crawford's name actually rung like a bell for me, at least, was when he basically fought Victor Postal, and I was like, oh wow, you know what, he may actually be like a really good fighter. But then once I did a little bit of research and I looked at how he was moving, because like I used to like Crawford a lot until like I actually like listened in on BFTB and all the other YouTubers that were exposing Crawford. But still, it's like, if casuals know that Crawford's not that good of a fighter, and yet they still have to talk about him as if like he really cares about his own audience when he clearly doesn't, then it just shows Crawford, he's a pussy, man, and his fans are pussies. So I think it's just
like Crawford behavior. Yeah, I mean, Crawford, no one's saying that Crawford's not talented. We're saying that there are people clearly better than Crawford, and even Crawford knows that. And it's like, dude, Crawford keeps saying, like, People keep saying Crawford is the best, Crawford is this, Crawford is that. Okay, cool. Can he prove it though? Can he prove it though? Like whenever, like I love Devin Haney. Whenever people talk about Devin Haney and they say, "Oh, you want him to fight him? You want him to fight him?" I'm like, I want Devin Haney to fight everybody, all of these niggas, all of them, because I'm not pussy. I'm not here to protect Devin Haney. I like Devin Haney as a fighter, and I give him a good chance against anybody. So let's go. But then when the other people come, like the Tank fans or the fucking Loma fans, all those dudes, oh well, this person's washed, and he might ask for too much money, and it's always all this bullshit. It's like you're a fan. Why are you emotionally fucking invested? Like if you're not like in this individual, you should be emotionally invested in the sport. Like if the people we all think are the best are not fighting, then it's all just gonna be a bunch of mismatches. Like what the fuck are we supposed to get? Tiafimo versus fucking Sandor Martin for the rest of our lives? Like fuck, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I personally think it's just degenerate behavior. Because otherwise, if it was actual, logical people actually listen to what they were talking about, then they would not be supporting Terrence Crawford. Like, I just think that's really like the main culprit of the situation, because it's not it's not showing like anybody is really wanting to see greatness in the sport as fans and people who are students of the game that study it. Like, I just hate like YouTubers that just basically like support like the fucking like mediocrity of fighters, and then they pretend as if like what they're doing is very smart. And those YouTubers get behind them, people like Lalos Boxing and all those fucking weirdos, right? Those people make me want to just punch them in real life, because it's like, they're not smart people. Like, they've never went to a gym and actually sparred somebody at a gym. Like, these are like the same people that will say, "Oh, you don't know shit about boxing," but yet you're talking to the dumb casuals that don't know shit about boxing. So, which one is it? Are you smart about boxing? Have you been inside like a gym where you've been hit by somebody that's not holding back? Like, have you actually studied like the styles? And that's pretty much what the biggest problem that I'm having, because it's like a lot of these people that dick ride for these fighters, for the clout or just for media tactics to amp people up to get pissed off. Like, it's really not for helping out about the sport. So I mean, that's just how I see it.
No, real talk. Like a lot of the casual YouTube scene, a lot of that shit, to be honest, and a lot of the Twitter scene, to be honest, a lot of that shit is just anti PBC shit. And what's always funny about that is that Golden Boy Promotions is everything that people accuse PBC of being. And it's funny because it's a projection. Like Golden Boy, they exclusively look after Hispanic fighters. They almost exclusively promote and push Hispanic fighters. They're very pro-Hispanic, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the only time they push a black fighter is when they think that somebody on their roster can beat that black fighter. Why do you think after Rashidi Ellis cooked Alexis Roca, he got put on the show? Because he wasn't supposed to beat Alexis Roca. Roca was someone they were grooming as a fucking star, and Ellis exposed him. It's the same thing that happened with Rigo and Donaire. Rigo wasn't supposed to beat fucking Donaire, but he did, and they sat his ass down for 2 years. The same thing. Meanwhile, PBC has more Hispanic fighters than they do black, and somehow they're known as the black promoter. How? PBC has more PBC has more Mexican fighters than they do black fighters. How the fuck is PBC the black one? And it's only because it's owned by a black dude. If Eddie Hearn or De La Hoya bought PBC, nobody would give a fuck. No, all the bullshit you hear about PBC, that Eddie Hearn and De La Hoya could buy PBC, conduct business in the exact same way, and all the complaining would stop. All the bitch moaning and complaining, they would all stop. So it's all just
Yeah,
about who owns it. It's all just about it being anti PBC. No blacks in power. Da, 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 da. It's all it is. It's just some weird race shit. and it's just fucking weird to me. Like I'm like, so that's all that matters. So if Al Heyman dies and then someone white takes over PBC, will y'all shut the fuck up and focus on boxing? Like
Yeah,
it's like bro, like that's all y'all are focused on, just being anti PBC fucking weirdos. Like and y'all talk all this shit, but PBC has given us back to back undisputed fights. It's given us undefeated prospect versus undefeated prospect. What are the other ones giving you? Chocolatito Estrada, Sandor Martin versus Tiafimo, fucking Warrington versus goddamn Luis Alberto Lowe. Like, come on, bro. Like some of these fights are decent, but they're not fucking breaking records and shit. They're not doing any of
yeah, they're
that.
not pay-per-view worthy. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not legacy worthy.
Canelo went over to fucking the zone, and they actually lost goddamn money. Shit, like people keep talking all this shit about PBC, yeah, PBC, Showtime going broke, and I'm like, okay, why hasn't their business model changed? Why do they keep doing the same shit and experiencing success? Like it's just weird, man. Like if Terrence Crawford was on PBC, number one, this fight would have got made already, and number two, people wouldn't give a fuck about Terrence Crawford. They would just say, oh, fucking PBC, Errol Spence and Crawford not gonna sell. That's all they would say. That's
Yeah,
all. That's all they would. That's all they would fucking say. It's the same reason how all these dudes talk all this shit about the LDBC, but then when a member of the LDBC gives Crawford this fucking bum bash, all of a sudden the LDBC is cool. Like these dudes don't stand on shit. They don't have no fucking integrity. They're fucking cowards.
oh yeah. But what gets me mad is like when they say PBC is going broke, what they mean is that they think Fox is going broke because Fox is basically the main provider giving out the sports every single day. Like all the major sports for basketball, tennis, football, all the major sports that they subcontract with all the major leagues in America and globally, including FIFA, by the way. Um, that's all done by Fox, and Fox is a $1 billion corporation industry that has done a very good job managing sports for a very long time. But in terms of boxing, people try to say Fox is like a Fox is going to get rid of its contract with PBC, and PBC is going to have to find like a different network. And I'm like, how? Because if that's true, wouldn't PBC make an announcement to say, hey, look, PBC is just going to become its own independent sole proprietor of its own network, and if you want to watch PBC fights, you just have to be subscribed to PBC. But guess what? Like, if PBC had to go through that and they had to switch up their business model, like you said, they would still do better than DAZN and Top Rank because they don't need no subscription required for PBC to operate. And on top of that, Al Heyman, like, he's giving out good fights. So why would Fox ever even think about not wanting to continue investment with PBC? Because PBC is doing a very good job. And I remember when PBC, when they had their shows on Spike TV and all these other networks, right? And I think even ESPN worked with PBC like a couple times. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they were doing amazing numbers, with like all the up and coming guys. But for people just trying to talk smack about PBC, it's like PBC is doing what the consumers tell them, what to do. And granted, there are some bad things out of PBC that I don't, appreciate, like what happened with Stephen Big Shot Shaw and who else? Nestor Bravo. Like, I don't like that stuff. Like, I think PBC, like, for stuff like that, they should always get called out for that. But 9 times out of 10, PBC is getting, the job done by just pushing, with the fights that people want to see. And for the fighters that actually deserve their shine, they have to go through all that hard work to be recognized. So that's something that I can definitely respect at PBC. I just kind of wish that they didn't screw over certain fight careers when they want to stay active and actually be given like a promise to work hard for. But at the end of the day, PBC is doing like what they're doing. So it's like, why would people say that they're going out of business when they're clearly succeeding in their business model right now?
my thing is too. It's like, so let's say Fox actually did that. Let's say they got rid of PBC's contract or didn't want to renew their contract. Number one, that's content that Fox loses. A lot of content that a lot of high viewership content that Fox loses out on, FS1 or whatever. Number two,
Yes.
yeah. Number two, PBC could just move all their fights over to Showtime permanently and give Showtime that business, which they can easily afford and they'll happily take. So, like them saying that doesn't mean anything. But the
Yeah.
thing is, yeah. But the thing is too, these dudes, you don't even know where they're getting this information. Like they're just saying shit out of the blue, hoping that the shit manifests. That doesn't mean that that's actually happening. Like when Fox hasn't come out and released a fucking statement or no shit like that. There's some asshole just said that one day, and people are like, "Oh, really? There's no fucking evidence."
Yeah. Yeah, because like I was talking to like other people like about it. Like I'm not gonna mention names, but but the people that are just stupid boxing casuals or people that listen to the boxing casuals and they're not doing their research officially on it, they just run with it and they act like PBC is just a small entity of limited money being floated like around, and Al Heyman's just not financing properly. When clearly PBC's breaking massive numbers every time when they have big cards, regardless of what's going on financially with like Showtime lay off employees or PBC having to get rid of like a couple people. But guess what? PBC is doing a very very good job, and I think honestly, it's just due to the supply and demand based off of what's going on. Because I'll even tell you, for the upcoming PBC schedule, it's looking pretty lit right now. You have Atifo Barrington. He's going to be headlining his very first ever main event. He's a rising lightweight fighter or a light heavyweight fighter out of Philadelphia. But guess what? Like, he was being put on PBC cards like David Morrell and all those other guys. And he obviously wasn't exclusively signed to them, but the way PBC and Showtime works with fighters that are actually good, guys that actually want to put their name out there on the pedestal to risk it all to be great, that's something that I can respect out of them because they are worth my time and effort to go put the money down and say, hey, Showtime, PBC, Al Heyman, you guys are doing what we want you to do. And until that's disproven to say, hey, look, they're acting a little bit funny, like Top Rank and DAZN, then I'll be like, okay, then I'm not gonna put my money down on them. Because if UFC Fight Pass can come on, where Dana White's hosting boxing fights, I'll be watching that over PBC. But until then, no, PBC's putting on that work and Showtime's putting on that work. So, why should we as consumers, flee away from PBC because they're beating up your favorite promotional platform for boxing? No, supply and demand, factors in.
It's funny because when PBC first got into boxing, all the other promoters like Arum and De La Hoya, they tried to sue them because they were saying that PBC was paying fighters too much money and they were trying to monopolize all the talent. Now, number one, you can't sue someone over that. You just have it's a marketplace. You have to compete for talent. But number two, the Zone adopted the same exact model as PBC, and it wasn't as successful. So it's like it's clear it's not about boxing. It's not even about the business. It's just about a black dude being the head of a company. And also, let's get something clear here. Let's get something clear. PBC is not a promotional company. It's not. It's a management agency. Like people don't understand that PBC is not a promotional company. When PBC puts on an event and they need a promoter, they use TGB. They use like Tom Brown. They use like Tom Brown Promotions. That's the company they work out of. So people keep talking about it like these are dudes. These are dudes who clearly just don't know the business and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because the same people that have an opinion about PBC are the same people who still think it's a promotional company. PBC is not a promotional company. It's a management agency. Al Heyman is just like when people say Al Heyman is the manager, he's just the manager. Tom Brown is a fucking promoter. Gervonta Davis is a promoter. Errol Spence Jr. is a promoter. Heyman is just a fucking manager.
Yeah. Uh, But on top of that, they try to use this like Floyd Mayweather controls PBC argument, and that's why
Oh my
PBC
fucking
fights
god.
are. Before you make your piece, Floyd Mayweather does not control shit with PBC and Showtime, not one bit. Floyd Mayweather worked with PBC and Showtime to put up his cards because, for one, Floyd Mayweather could not financially marketize his own cards. Even if he wanted to, like, I mean, he definitely could have, financed his own promotional, network, but he used PBC and Showtime as a medium factor to basically create his own fights. But, for these weirdos trying to say Mayweather controls PBC and that's how all these PBC fights are made, that's so stupid because if Mayweather is controlling all these fights, wouldn't Mayweather be like the one at every single PBC event, like press conference and weigh-ins and all that, right? So that's not true because he does not control it. Mayweather doesn't do anything but run his mouth like a complete jackass and pretend as if he's the controller of PBC when you've never controlled any PBC fights, not once. But Al Heyman, he will come right back at Floyd behind closed doors and tell him to shut up because Al Heyman, he made Floyd, but Floyd did not made. Yeah, he didn't like. He never made PBC.
Like, I get so tired. I get so fucking tired of hearing people quote Floyd Mayweather about Spence Crawford. Floyd Mayweather doesn't know shit about Spence Crawford. Cause fucking like oh my god, like these dudes like first of all, people that work at Chick-fil-A need to stop talking about business. People that have never handled any significant business in their fucking life, like people who have never signed a lease for an apartment, or people who've never fucking got a mortgage on a house, like shut the fuck up. Talking like I got motherfuckers that still in high school talking about, oh, Heyman and Mayweather are in bed. Like shut your dumb ass up talking about they're in bed against the fucking mafia. Like shut up. Heyman, Heyman and Mayweather partnered up through TMT Promotions so Mayweather can get rich and maximize his growth potential as a draw in boxing. That's fine. But Mayweather does not have a stake in PBC. He does not have a stake in Showtime, all this bullshit. He's not a fucking proprietor or any of that shit. PBC is owned by Al Heyman, and Mayweather is a former partner. Whatever business they did was for Tank and Mayweather's little stable, but it was done separately by PBC and Mayweather Promotions, the money team, TMT, all that bullshit. Mayweather doesn't know shit about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fighting. You wanna know how I know? Number one, first off, about the ownership thing, y'all talking all this bullshit about how Mayweather owns PBC. Why the fuck did he just fight on DAZN? Why did Mayweather just fight a nigga named Deji on DAZN? Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. If Mayweather had some pull over PBC, he wouldn't have went to the UK or whatever the fuck and fought on goddamn DAZN against a nigga named Deji. But anyways, moving on. Once the initial news broke that Terrence Crawford didn't sign, how come Mayweather had no details? How come Floyd Mayweather had no fucking details on what was cracking? Oh right, because he doesn't know anything. And then I always ask people too, because when people come to me with some shit, I try to let them dig their own grave. So I'm like, okay, so what is Floyd Mayweather's role? I just ask him that. What is his role in negotiations? What is he doing now to get the fight done? What is his fucking principal role? They just say, oh, he's in bed with Heyman. He's in bed with Heyman. He's in bed with Heyman. Like, nigga, do you know how many people are in bed with Heyman? Technically, Bob Arum is in bed with Heyman because they did cross promotions too. So what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, they in bed. We all know they in bed. Every promoter is in bed with Heyman at some point because they got to do business. Because PBC owns multiple divisions in boxing. They fucking own most of the welterweight division. They own 154 wholesale. They got like half of 122 and shit. So you gotta do business with PBC. Shit, even the zone. Fucking what's the name? Roger Gutierrez was fighting over there on the zone. Then he went over to PBC to fight Hector Luis Garcia, and he got his ass whooped, and now he's no longer a champion. So you want to use that dumbass logic? Everybody in bed with Heyman.
Shit, ProBox TV is definitely working with PBC, you know, for
I
some of
mean,
their fighters.
yeah, you got to. So they just like saying shit because it sounds good. Oh, well, they in bed. Floyd, no. I'm like, no. Blood fans were thirsty as fuck looking for a talking point to vindicate Terrence Crawford, and they just found one. These niggas have never listened to anything Mayweather has said. These dudes, whenever it came to Tank, they never listened to anything Mayweather said. They called him a liar. They said he's protecting Tank. Da 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 da. But the moment he says some positive shit about fucking Terrence Crawford, oh, all of a sudden, no, we got you to listen to Mayweather. Mayweather, no. Mayweather this, Mayweather that. Man, shut the fuck up. Ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit.
Yeah.
Talking about all the,
But
well,
it's just,
Floyd said,
oh my
well,
god,
Floyd
that's
said, well, Floyd said, ain't never in the history of boxing have a bunch of niggas really been listening to what the fuck Floyd was talking about until it came to protecting Terrence Crawford. Well, Floyd said, well, Floyd, shut the fuck up about what Floyd said. Floyd don't know shit. You know, fucking know this dumb shit. Floyd didn't even know. Floyd didn't even know Tank was unhappy. Floyd didn't even know Richardson Hitchens was unhappy. How the fuck you know what Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence doing?
yeah,
Fucking Floyd done lost his whole goddamn stable, but he know what the fuck Terrence Crawford and Spence doing. Man, get the fuck out of here. I'm so tired of these dudes.
sad, man. That's sad. Oh man, but it's just like at the end of the day, you cannot control a entity that you never had business ownership of. And if you were like the business owner, wouldn't you be showing up to your like events if you were running them?
Like if Floyd owned PBC, he wouldn't be going to the zone for fights.
Yeah.
That's the reality. If you fucking own PBC, he would not be going over to the zone for goddamn fights.
But he can fight exhibitions though, so he's still Floyd Mayweather.
And that's fine.
So you
And,
can't
and
say
honestly, and honestly, that's really what I want Terrence Crawford to do. Fight some fucking exhibitions and get the fuck out of here. Stop holding up the rankings and shit.
that. Speaking of rankings, when is Boots gonna be mandated?
Well, after he clears Kareem, well, the fuck his name is. After he clears this dude, apparently he's going to be the official IBF interim, and they're gonna have 120 days to fucking defend or not. So, you know, I guess fucking soon. I guess I don't know what the fuck the IBF is doing. Cause you know,
Like,
Heyman done slid the WBC some bread to get fucking Keith Thurman ranked off of Barrios. So God knows what he's saying to IBF to chill the fuck out, trying to get Terrence Crawford to come back to the table.
yeah, but
You,
like I just don't know how this is gonna work because if he can't get Crawford, but Boots he wants to fight Spence if it's faster to get to a title, but if Spence is like, nah, F that, I'm going to 54, and Boots has to go through the same crap that Spence had to go through to become undisputed, then that's not being like a duck, right? For Spence?
no, I wouldn't say it's a dud because Spence has made his weight problems public. People already know that he's struggling to make weight, and he's only staying at 147 for Terrence Crawford, and had no intention of even being at 147 this long. So I wouldn't classify that as a dub.
Yeah. But it's like people are trying to make it seem like Spence needs to fight Boots or Thurman or Crawford if he's gonna stay at 47. But it's like Spence made it clear like there's only one more fight left, and it's Crawford. So why go backwards fighting Jaron Ennis? Because I think honestly, like the Boots fight is a good fight, but Jaron Ennis, he doesn't need Spence to basically like change up the welterweight division. And I'm not saying that I don't want to see the fight, but it's like I'd rather see Errol Spence beat up on Crawford, and then Jaron Ennis, he can just get all the belts after Spence leaves if he becomes undisputed, theoretically speaking. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me to see Jaron Ennis go through damage with Spence, and Spence would have to go through a lot of wear and tear fighting Boots, and it's just like it doesn't sit well, timeline wise. It like, if anything, like you're just kind of like giving Spence like a tough test, without even achieving his ultimate goal.
Well, basically, what they would want is they would want to see Spence lose, so they can say, "Oh, he's not the best after all." And then what they would do is, if Jaron Ennis were to beat Spence, no, for real, if Jaron Ennis were to beat Spence, no matter what happened, no matter how many belts, whatever, they would encourage Terrence Crawford to stay far the fuck away from Boots. They'd be like, okay, now that he's beat Spence, Terrence, stay the fuck away from him. Don't fight him. Do not fight Boots, and just let Spence and his fans hold the L. You know what I mean? They would never encourage Terrence Crawford to fight Boots, especially if he fucked around and beat Spence. Oh God, never in fucking life.
Yeah, but I just don't. I just don't want to see Boots and Spence just beat each other up now. It's like do you want to see that fight happen like before like Spence
Hell yeah.
54?
I mean, shit. If that's all we can get, I don't see why not. I mean, shit. If Spence want to take it, hey, I'm all for it. If he don't want to take it, if he don't want to take it, he just want to go to 54. I'm cool with that shit too. But that's good smoke. I'm not gonna fucking say I don't want to see it. I do want to see it, especially because people are still talking that shit, talking about how Spence will beat Boots, which I don't believe. I don't believe Spence will beat Boots. I think Spence will fucking lose. I've said that. So
Really?
I want to see if I think Boots will beat. I think Boots will beat. I think Boots will beat Spence by decision, and I think Boots knocks Crawford the fuck out.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's such a rarity.
I'm not.
I mean, I'm not surprised by it, but that's going to be a very tough fight for Boots.
I mean, I've never hid that from anybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's not the first time that I've heard you say that. Like I would favor Boots to beat Spence by like split decision, but that's going to be really difficult to do that because Errol Spence has really never been in those fights where he's really brought a fight to a split decision that much. I think the only fight he's ever had it that way was with Sean Porter, and I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he has very high punch output. He works very well on the inside. He's a very aggressive fighter. But I think Jaron Ennis has the necessary tools and the necessary style, speed, and strength to outclass him. I do, you know. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that if Boots were to do something crazy, fuck around, and beat Spence, all the Blood fans would tell Crawford to stay the fuck away from Boots. They would say he ain't nobody. He's accomplished nothing. He exposed the hype job. He doesn't deserve it. Or they would say, well, Boots is PBC, and Terrence Crawford just couldn't deal with the PBC, so therefore the fight can't happen anyway. That's what they'll do. But like I said, they're gonna encourage this fuck boy to not pull in any work, so they can keep crying about how he's the best while he does not have to prove it.
Yeah, I mean it's it just makes me think that if this scenario does happen, um, this is kind of like just going backwards. It's not going forwards. And I think, like, honestly, it's just Crawford's fault because in a perfect world, if boxing just was just not about ducking and politics and, the belts, if there were any, like, management just to have it like, look, like, if you're a champion and there's other multiple champions in your division and they had it set up, well, it like if it was just set up where everybody has to fight each other regardless if you're a champion or not, and it's mandatory, then therefore, we would always be seeing let the best fight, let the best. But unfortunately, that, it's not built like that. Like, this is why boxing sucks, because it's like, you don't get your Super Bowl fights every single weekend. You get it like once in a blue moon, if it's ever lucky to be made, and that's what gets me so pissed off, because it's like, I put my hard-earned money to go see you, but if you're not giving me what I want, then you're just pissing off at the whole choir that's just gonna revolt, up against you. Like, how does
Hello?
that compute? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
just a
I
second.
hear.
Yeah, no, but I agree. I agree. It's too much. It's too much fuckery, and it's too much. It's too much ducking and dodging, trying to preserve and build, and all this talk about preserving and building fights, and then we're not getting shit. Like we're not like what every fight got to be like fucking Brook and Khan, where they're all washed and old. Like, bro, just see, that's the thing. When Brook and Khan were in their primes, that was a 50-50 fight. But once they got older, I knew Khan wasn't gonna do anything. He's gonna get knocked out like he's been knocked out. So it's like, come on, bro. Like, that's why we gotta get these fights popping ASAP, like quick. All these young dudes don't want to mix it up because of this or that. It's like, man, what the fuck is going on, bro? It's like, if you dudes don't want to fight certain people, then just get out of boxing, or stop doing title eliminators where you can hold up the rankings. Just be like Jaime Munguia and fight randoms. Like, you can live that life. Just stop fucking up boxing for the rest of us.
At least the women are putting in with the work, but truth be told, if it was like the same population of what we see now with the fights being made, I truly believe if women had the same supply and demand as men do in boxing, all the better fights would just be on the women's side on a theoretical level. But that's why the men suck right now, because they're not delivering. And if they were delivering and they weren't complaining about money and they weren't complaining about anything else other than just fight and have fun with your career until it's over, then that shouldn't be, like a big issue. Because, like, I was even talking it out with I had that one fighter, Lionel Thompson, and we were talking like about the Super Six tournament, and I was asking him, do you believe that if it wasn't about money and politics and it was just about you enjoying your career, like, if boxing had like consistent matches of like tournaments every certain periodic timeline of a year time frame, on top of you getting big money fights every time you fight a really tough name, and you just getting everything that you need financially, like, doesn't that benefit your interest to say, look, I don't care if I win or lose, at least I'm getting paid to fight the best opposition, right?
Right. Definitely. But one thing I will say though, in regards to female boxing, I think that if women had the same talent pool and the same supply and demand as the men, they would make the same decision. Like, if Savannah Marshall could have made the same money fighting anybody but Clarissa Shields, she wouldn't have fought Clarissa Shields. I don't think she would have. Cause, no, bro, 'cause
Yeah.
I don't think she would have, because the way that fight went, anybody that knows boxing knew that fight was gonna go that way. I was like, cause come on, because when she got in there, she couldn't do shit. She couldn't do shit with Clarissa. She got her ass whooped. She got her ass whooped from beginning to end. She had almost no success. She got in maybe like 2 or 3 punches maximum, but she got in there and she looked horrible. And anybody that knows boxing knew that was going to happen to her because Clarissa Shields is levels above, and I think Marshall knew it too. I think Marshall knew it too. And the only reason why Marshall's talking about a rematch is because who else is she going to make $1 million fighting? She can't do that with everybody. Not for us. She can't do that with everybody. And she fucking lost to Pursuit. So she's struggling with even B- level people. She's gonna fuck around with one of these girls and get knocked the fuck out. Try to cherry pick playing around. So she's like, shit.
Oh wait,
I
she
may
fought
as well.
in Pursuit.
Oh wait, so I'm thinking of Kate Taylor. I'm thinking of Kate Taylor. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Never mind.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Katie
I
Taylor.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get these British hoes mixed up sometimes. But yeah, no, but like for real though,
Yeah, they're all gonna
like
get sacrificed.
yeah, like because she knew she would end up being a sacrifice, so she's not gonna, she's not gonna make as much money. So she's like, I might as well lose to somebody that's certified as the damn best, as opposed to one of these other mid assholes, and they smoke me. So that's why Terrence Crawford is making the moves he's making because he gets more money not fight. Well, he gets a decent amount of money not fighting Spence as opposed to fighting him. Now, would he make more money fighting Spence? Would he make more money fighting Spence? Absolutely, he would. But he can make around. He can make similar money. Like I'll put it this way: he made more money than he ever has in his entire career fighting Ivan Ezian. So he's like, why the fuck would I fight Spence? Why would I put myself and my family in that situation when I don't have to? I can make great money not fighting Spence and just talking about it. It's the same as what the fuck? It's the same as Ryan Garcia. It's like, why the fuck would I put myself in a position where I actually have to fight Tank and I'm making millions not fighting him? Like this is the perfect situation. Why would I fuck myself over and put myself in a situation where I gotta fight this nigga when I could just not? It's perfect. So it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint that's been put out there plenty of times, and it's just people got to see it because like I keep saying, Terrence Crawford has never been more relevant in his career than he is right now, and it wasn't Albanesian, it wasn't Porter, it's always been Errol Spence Jr. And he's like, damn, I thought I was gonna have to fight Errol Spence to make $10 million in a fucking fight. Now I know I don't have to. So why the fuck would I fight this nigga now? Why would I? It's the same as Adrian Broner. Why would Adrian Broner fight somebody like a Devin Haney or a Regis Prograis or some shit like that when he's like, I'm making a bunch of money fighting nobody? He's like, PBC wants me to fight Godzilla for the type of money I need to make when I can be on BLK fucking Prime or whatever, making the money I want to make fighting nobody.
Yeah.
And Adrian Broner ought to be ashamed of himself. Fucking they gave your ass Santiago and Omar Figueroa. This nigga said they gotta make a fight Godzilla. That's fucking pathetic, nigga. Like, like Adrian Broner is such a fucking washed coward. I swear to God. But the thing is, when Adrian Broner was active, he fought Pacquiao. He fought Maidana. He put in work. Bud hasn't done shit comparable to that. That's another reason why Adrian Broner gets respect and Bud doesn't, because while Adrian Broner was active, he put in work. He fought people. Bud has fought nothing. Bud ain't even fought anybody close to, like, Bud hasn't even fought a Maidana level opponent. Bud certainly ain't fought no Pacquiao level people.
No.
So shit, you can say Adrian Broner lost. Yeah, the nigga did lose, but that's what happens when you fight certified. You may win and you may fucking lose. That's the situation. And when Terrence Crawford actually fucking got the goddamn Pacquiao fight, he didn't sign the fucking paperwork. So like, what are we supposed to do with that? He talked all this right, yeah. He talked all this bullshit. He talked all this fucking bullshit about goddamn Pacquiao spending 7 years trying to get this nigga, and then he finally gets the goddamn paperwork, And what happens? He doesn't sign for whatever reason. So it's like, okay, look, nigga, like you're just, either you want to fight people or you don't. It's that simple. And Terrence Crawford does not want to fight people.
Yeah, and I think it's just case in point to show that this type of behavior, once again, is just degenerate behavior. It's not, responsible, mature behavior, and converted to everyday, human life. Like, if someone did this at your job constantly, you'd be pissed off. Like, you'd be so annoyed, and you would want this person fired. And I've had people like Crawford's mindset where they just don't give a shit about work. They just care about getting, the easy money and just dip out. And I'm like, that's literally like why I work hard to keep away from people like that. And I basically hold people accountable because I don't want my job to even be, how should I say, jeopardized over somebody's dumbass, decision making to the point where, they just end up doing stupid shit all day. And it's just like, at what point do you, put your foot down and say, look, like, these people need to be held, like accountable, and this type of foolery needs to be, severely punished because that's what Crawford's doing. He's getting away with mediocrity and just mental retardation, and no one's going to scold him until he actually gets, put in, some deep shit over it. Because I'm just really curious, like, when he's actually going to be, exposed for some of this, weird, you know, criminal dealing shenanigans they're doing with Canahan and all these weird ass people that he says he's associated with. Like, is anybody really talking like about that? Like, are they really understanding like that Crawford's mindset is making it seem like, he's going back to his old ways of, looking like a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's a good, imagery for the children that, look up to you, for the next leading generation.
I mean, it's honestly just a bunch of fucking, like you said, it's a bunch of lazy ass nigga shit. It's a bunch of just lazy ass bum nigga shit wanting to get maximum fucking paydays for minimal ass work. That's all it fucking amounts to, all the goddamn time. And yeah, the Kinahan thing is funny. A lot of his fans were talking big shit about the Kinahan situation. Talking about, oh, now that Bud's got that Kinahan support, they thought that he was gonna like use Kinahan to bully Heyman or some shit. And I'm like, first of all, why are you niggas excited about a European drug lord bullying an American? That's fucking weird. Second of all, as soon as they said all that dumb shit, what happened? Kinahan's entire business went defunct. So it's like, yeah, now that's gone. Yeah, like I try to talk about that, but Bud fans have such fucking short memories. They're like, oh, the Kinahan thing. Well, he didn't. And also, I want to know, what the fuck did Kinahan even do for Bud? Did Kinahan give Bud a fight? Did Kinahan do anything? Like, what the fuck did he do? Like what services did he provide Bud? What advice did he give him? Because Bud signed with that dude and got nothing. Got absolutely nothing.
And
so I'm yeah, like I'm oh yeah, go ahead.
No. Like, I didn't say anything. Like, my apologies.
Yeah, like I'm always just curious. I'm like he signed with this guy and he got like nothing out the deal. So like I'm just like what fucking services did he provide him? But yeah, niggas got short memories with the Kinahan shit. It's like you guys were and like they were saying that the reason why he signed with Kinahan instead of Al Haymon was because of transparency and he got a guarantee. Again, what guarantee did Kinahan give him? What guarantee did he get? What money? What fight? Like this is why I can't stand Bud fans. Like you ask them simple fucking questions They can't stand on anything that they fucking say. It's all just a bunch of mindless fucking bitch babble.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like it's just crazy because through this whole like I'd say within like the last 4 years, like it's been nothing but just absolute fuckery with a lot of these people that just just be dick riding with the Crawford narratives. And I had like a really like deep feeling in the back of my head that this would continue on forever. And here we are in 2022 heading into 2023. We're all right. You know what I'm saying? Like I just find it crazy that like it's all like a massive deja vu of just people that just accept mediocrity and just lazy degenerate behavior.
I personally just don't understand what Terrence Crawford does for these fucking people to the point where they feel the need, like where they feel that they have to defend him. I'm like, bro, it's like I don't understand why Terrence Crawford just can't be a coward. Why can't Terrence Crawford be a fucking coward who doesn't want to lose? Why can't Terrence Crawford just be another lazy ass nigga that doesn't want to put in a hard day's work? I don't understand. Like, if we call him that, what would happen? Like, we just got to keep it real on this dude.
Yeah.
And then again, you got people that swear to God, like the biggest, oh, we're not getting the biggest fights, we're not getting the biggest fights. Well, you niggas are encouraging the people who you guys claim are the best to not fight certain people, and that's stupid. If you really think a fighter is the best, you should want them to fight everybody because their chances of winning are good. I like if you start protecting people and start talking about money and A side, B side, I'm already not trusting you. I'm already thinking you're full of shit.
Yeah. I've just never seen like the foolery get to that. And like now at this point it's just like you just would not want to see these people in real life because they're just absolute pussies in real life. And I've just made it clear to anybody that tries to press me in real life, if you're making death threats to me and you want to fight me, like I'm not like the type of guy to be playing games. Like I will really take it to that level. But it's just that this is like the type of idiotic fan base you get. You get people that act like that they're tough on the internet, but then it's like when it's time to come to face to face, it's like they're not like that in real life. They're just troll pieces of shit.
And that's another weird thing. Like you dudes are literally ready to fight and risk your lives over defending a man's honor. If that isn't the most homoerotic weird shit I've ever heard in my entire life, like, oh my goodness, like I would never be out in the street fighting because someone called Devin Haney a bitch. Like never, because I'm not Devin Haney. You didn't call me a bitch. You called Devin Haney a bitch. That's him and his dad's responsibility to fight you. Like what the hell do I look like? I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting any money off of this shit. It's just super fucking weird. It's super weird, these dudes. And even then, like you go to fights, you show up to fights, you meet these people, they don't do anything. All they do is awkwardly shake your hand, talk some shit, and go away. Like that's why, like, people always talk about me. They're like, "Oh, you don't even show your face." Blah 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 blah. What about that would make my opinion less valid? What about that would, like, no, for real, like what about that would make what I'm saying not factual? Like let's say you know what I look like. Then what, bitch? Are you gonna say, "Oh, look at him, he's just talking shit because he's handsome"? That's all you would say. Like no, it's like they argue like fucking 12-year-old girls. Like, oh well, you can't say anything because look at this. Yeah, like this is why niggas can't make any progress in real life because they're always deflecting from the issues. Like whenever we're trying to have a real conversation, they'll talk about fucking someone's t-shirt or someone's tennis shoes or just some dumb shit. It's like, oh my fucking god. Like this is why when it comes to politics, we can't make any real fucking progress because niggas don't take shit serious. And we try to have conversations about boxing and the best way forward, and it's all just a bunch of tribal garbage. Like again, I will never understand what dudes like Terrence Crawford do to get like their cult like following. Terrence Crawford has done nothing. He has not earned the passion that he receives from his fans. He hasn't earned any of it, and it's fucking weird. Like it is funny because when you talk to Terrence Crawford fans, all they talk about is the undisputed. Because the reality of the situation is they don't know anything about Terrence Crawford's career. They don't know shit. They don't know the beginning fights. They don't know his lightweight career. They don't know a lot of the dudes that he's fought. They don't even know. Like they'll talk all this bullshit about Spence going the distance with Mikey, but Terrence Crawford went the distance with a nigga named Raymundo Beltran who has 6 losses. They don't talk about that because they haven't been watching Terrence Crawford that long. They have not been watching Terrence Crawford that long. These niggas didn't start watching Terrence Crawford until he fought Benavidez. That's when they started watching him. That's why all they talk about is the knockout streak. Oh well, Terrence Crawford, he knocked out everybody at welterweight. Ooh, okay, great. Is he gonna fight Spence? Well, the money, and you see, it's like, oh my god, okay, shut the fuck up.
And what gets me pissed off is that they try to say it's Spence's fault, and they try to say like, well, Errol Spence, he's holding up with the fight because he already knows that he's gonna lose to Crawford because he's too afraid to get beat up by Crawford, so that's why the fight ain't happening. And just like using all the stupid scenarios, but it's just like they're just so afraid to the point where they have to make up lies.
My thing is though, my thing is though about that. If Errol Spence Jr. wanted to duck Terrence Crawford, he could just duck him. He could have just done that. He could have just fought Thurman. He didn't have to offer Bud anything. He didn't have to sit down and negotiate with Terrence Crawford. It like people. It's almost like the fucking the weird the weird conspiracy Illuminati people that are always thinking that the most powerful people on earth have to hide their plans from you. Like the most powerful people on the planet don't need to make a secret organization and fucking hide their intentions from you. They could just do it and you wouldn't be able to do shit. They're rich and powerful and you're a nigga on YouTube. You wouldn't be able to do anything but fucking say, I told y'all, and then get killed. That's all you'd be able to do. So when people so when people say, oh, Spence is ducking Crawford, I'm like, bro, Spence didn't have to offer Crawford to negotiate. If Spence was really afraid of Crawford, he could just not fight him. He could fight Thurman. He could fight Boots. He could fight Virgil. Spence could have fought Avanesian, if we're being honest with ourselves. So it's just funny when these dudes say, oh, Spence is clearly ducking. If Spence was ducking Crawford, he could just duck him. He could just duck him. He could have offered that contract to anybody and been fighting in November. But he didn't. And the only reason why he's still at fucking welterweight is because of Crawford. Spence could move up to 154. He didn't have to fight him.
Yeah.
So these dudes keep saying that, oh, Spence is ducking. I'm like, y'all make it seem like Spence has to go out of his way to lie to y'all to maintain his image. Spence could just duck Crawford. Like, he could just not fight him. He can fight Danny Garcia again. Spence has too many options. Spence has far too many options at welterweight and 154 to really he's ducking. Like, y'all are just fucking stupid, man. Just dumb. You're trying to make Crawford seem like this ultimate badass, and this is the same thing they're doing with Shakur Stevenson. Everybody's ducking Shakur Stevenson. Oh, because what? Kambosos just came off of a loss. He just got his ass whooped. Why the fuck would he go into a Shakur Stevenson fight? Oh, that doesn't make any sense. William Zepeda. Okay, Oscar De La Hoya said that fight's not big enough yet, meaning he doesn't think Zepeda can beat Shakur, which is fair, but I think that's a good fight. He's talking about Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz just got his ass whooped. Why the fuck would he want to go into a Shakur fight? But whatever. There are plenty of names on Top Rank that Shakur Stevenson could have been calling out that he's not. There's a reason for that. He could be calling out Abdullah Mason. He could be calling out Raymond Murataya. He could be calling out that Japanese nigga that just stopped fucking Nakatani or whatever. There's plenty of smoke on...
Andy here. Or no. Japanese guy,
Yeah,
Yoshishino,
yeah,
Yoshishino.
that motherfucker. He's not that good, and Shakur beat him, but at least that's somebody. But there are plenty of fucking lightweights on Top Rank Shakur could have been calling out, and the first people he calls out is fucking like Zapata and Cruz, and then like Cruz got outboxed by Tank. Like, why would he? Like, bro, these are all a bunch of dudes that are quote unquote across the street. So why the fuck are you asking for these fights, bro? It's just a bunch of weird off-brand shit. And then when Devin Haney goes to 140, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's ducking Shakur. Clearly, he didn't want to fight Shakur." It's like, bro, unlike Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney made his weight issues public. He publicly announced that he's having issues making weight. Shakur one day just said, "Yep, I'm moving up to 35. Sorry." Like what? So I just man like I just get fucking frustrated with these dudes, and they fucking get their dicks all hard over these random ass motherfuckers that have barely done anything. Like Shakur Stevenson is great, but like objectively speaking, he has done nothing to show me that he's just like this massive, amazing generational talent. He looks good against marginal ass opposition. Now don't get it twisted. If he was stopping all these motherfuckers, I'd be like, oh shit, okay, Shakur is the goddamn man. Like he was like icing these dudes, but no, he's going the distance like everybody else. Like I'm not saying Devin Haney's some generational talent. He has to beat certain people for me to say that. But I'm not saying Shakur is either. The only generational talent I see so far in this crop is fucking Boots. And that's because not only is he in there doing all kinds of weird shit, but he's smoking these dudes. Like
Yeah,
if you're not like if you're not supposed to be in the ring with Boots, he's gonna let you know. Like Terrence Crawford went 6 rounds with Delorme. Ugas went 10 rounds with Delorme. Stanionis went 12 rounds with Delorme. When Delorme got in there with Boots, that motherfucker lasted like 90 seconds. That's separation. That lets you know who is who.
yeah, and that's not triangle theory. That's just simply, styles make fights, and it
Yeah,
shows, the skill level and bracketization of who's really really good versus who's not really really good. And to even case that with Shakur Stevenson, like I don't think Shakur is super duper good in my eyes. Like I think he's good for what he's been, groomed with the opposition he's been fed. But I just think like something deep inside like my mind makes me believe like Shakur, he's not gonna be able to back it all up when he gets in there with like really deadly opposition. And like I brought this up with BFTB earlier on his channel, and I want to say he did like agree with me, but either way, like I just don't see what people see out of Shakur. Like I don't know that one guy that always comes on Artman's channel, that Dirk Banks guy, but he always keeps bringing up this generational talent bullshit, and I'm like, dude, what is a generational talent? It's either you're good or you're just not good, right? So if you're going to be this next big thing, you should be caking everybody, in the way. You should be automatically fighting tough fights wherever you please, but you're not doing that. Like, I don't think so. Like, you're fighting guys that I already know you can beat. Like, yeah, there's some wins on Shakur's resume where it's kind of like, okay, like, this guy definitely could have, given him problems, but it wasn't like that high of like a risk versus reward factor. It was like Shakur was being placed in certain fights where he knows he can win. Otherwise, if he really wanted all the real smoke, in my honest opinion, I think PBC would have been like a better route for him to start his career off. Because why would you go from being so emotionally, how should I say, adamant about like the amateurs, and then you get a deal with Top Rank, in which Bob Arum, out of all people, would want to select you, when he should have just, like, honestly, like Bob Arum shouldn't have never given Shakur a contract at all, and he should have just given a contract to Rabesi Ramirez that that beat him in the Olympics to basically fuel, the machine behind him. And Shakur, he would have to work his way up like all the other hard working fighters, from the black, coincidentalists, right? So I just think like to me, Shakur's been groomed to the point where he has like a say in what he believes is correct, but it's like I don't see it because you haven't been placed in any deep water situation in a fight that makes me believe that you are the ultimate goods to dominate this era. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, Dirk Banks is cool, and I respect his opinion. But well, Top Rank signing Shakur Stevenson is a very good thing because Shakur Stevenson beats a lot of people. Top Rank has a very attractive sign-on bonus. I know that they provide people a lot of money up front, but
Wow.
in exchange for that, you don't make a lot over the course of your fights until like you earn your way up, and that's perfectly fine. Like Shakur's financial situation, that's whatever. I don't care about that. Also, I think the Top Rank had more control over the divisions he was fighting at. I think like only like Gary Russell had a championship at 126, but outside of that, PBC didn't really have much other smoke for him. So I don't really care about the money aspect or anything like that. My thing is though is that what you like Shakur Stevenson looks amazing, but it's time to up the comp some. It's time to show what you can actually do out here because let's just be honest with you, people think his best win is Valdez. No, his best win is Conceição because I watched Conceição beat up Valdez. Conceição is a Brazilian Olympian gold medalist. Don't get it twisted, but he can't punch and he has never held the title in his life. So it's like that's your best win. Like, and then people want to talk shit about Cambosis, and I'm like, personally, y'all can say what you want to, but not only do I think Cambosis is a better win based on his resume and his accolades, but like, I mean, like if fucking Conceição and fucking and Cambosis actually fought, we don't know because Conceição has been dropped by garbage. Like people say, oh well, Shakur dropped Conceição. Okay, so did Coria.
Yeah,
What are we
Louis
doing?
Corey, he should have won that fight against Conceição.
Yeah, exactly. These are dudes that have already been exposed, and what's worse is that some of them have almost no exposure to any significant opposition themselves. So it's like I'm not saying Shakur is bad. He might be everything that you niggas say about him, but I need to see something. I need to see some. I need to see another gear. I need to see something extra because right now what I'm seeing it ain't getting it, man. I see a guy who looks amazing against marginal opposition. I see Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford gets all this respect, but I'm telling you, if Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. swapped resumes, they would say Errol Spence hadn't fought anybody. It's true. It's true. They would say Spence hadn't fought shit.
Yeah, and that's what I fear out of Shakur right now because I have just like a really bad feeling inside my head that he's just gonna run the same path that Crawford does now, and then when someone actually cooks him, then people are going to try to write him off to say, "Oh, Shakur's a bum. He's no longer good no more." And it's like, okay, like that's not going to determine if he's going to be good. What's going to determine it is he going to come back and actually fight better opposition instead of facing guys that we already know, you're going to beat up. And it's like I don't like seeing that out of him. Like I like at this point of his career, like he should have been, just went after Devin Haney in his previous fight instead of fighting, Conceição. And even though people were trying to argue to say, "Oh, well, Devin, he was already busy with Cambosos." No, he did not need to fight Cambosos. Devin and Shakur could have easily fought in October or basically like on whatever date that they could have worked something out. But I mean, I don't want to say Shakur ducked Devin. I think honestly, Shakur he just wanted to think like, oh well, let me do this final title defense at 130, and then I'll do it at 135. But it's like, dude, if you knew that you weren't going to make the weight, then why not just move up to 35 and just fight a guy like Raymond Murataya? At least fight somebody good, because at least that way that'll make you feel more comfortable. Making your hometown return to Newark, and at least that'll give up the fans a lot more credibility for you, instead of making yourself look like a fool, saying like, oh well, I wanted to fight Devin, blah blah blah. But it's like, if you wanted to fight him, instead of you making this weird title defense at 130 that you knew that you couldn't wait for, it's like you should have just did that instead, because now you just wasted up on a massive opportunity to fight Devin. And I think Devin would definitely give him the opportunity to fight him, but it's like, it's not going to happen at 35. It's going to happen at least 140 or maybe 147. But I don't think. Oh,
No, it's fine. Shakur only did all this bullshit the moment Devin Haney looked like he struggled to make weight, because Shakur wants to come in and sweep up the belts once Haney is gone. Shakur knows that Tank is not fighting Ryan at 135. He's fighting him at 136 plus. Shakur knows that Ryan Garcia himself is fighting at 140. Shakur knows that Haney is soon going to go to 140 after he clears Lomachenko. So Shakur did all this bullshit. Shakur did all this bullshit because he knows that the belts are about to become vacant up here. And also, like, look at who's moving up to 130. O'Shaquie Foster and Ray Vargas. Those are two fighters that I believe will give Shakur some trouble. So he's like, fuck this. Devin Haney's leaving 135. These two motherfuckers are coming up to 130. Well, now they are, because Shakur vacated. So shit, fuck it. I'm going to be in the perfect situation. I can clear 135 because Haney and Tank ain't going to be there. And I can be there. And meanwhile, I can say they're all ducking me. And then when they actually try to make fights, I can just say, well, I can't do it because I'm on Top Rank. So you guys got to sign with Top Rank again. Well, you had no problem signing with Top Rank the first time, Devin. So sign with them again. It's all the perfect fucking scheme. And I'm tired of these dudes, because history just repeats itself. Motherfuckers are doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. The reality is, I don't think that Shakur is as solid as people say. I don't think he legitimately wants to fight all these people. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he does. And if he wins, great. If he loses, cool. But I honestly, these dudes are getting certified off of nothing, and I'm sick of it. I really am. But it's late. I do have to work in the morning, so I'm gonna have to probably get some rest. But we can definitely do this tomorrow or Thursday again, follow up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I definitely have like a lot to say. But yeah, like I'll leave you to it, and have a good day tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for coming through.
Absolutely, thank you for having me at this very late hour. But I just had to get it in a little bit. But yeah, you all like and subscribe, and we will probably see you either tomorrow or Thursday.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, you have a good one, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, yo. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to D-Hab for coming through, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Salute to the mighty LDBC and TWT, and I am out. Here's the outro. Peace.